After Damian Lillard suffered what would end up becoming an Achilles tear early in the game against the Indiana Pacers, the Pacers would go on to win 129-103 and take a 3-1 series lead. In spite of Giannis Antetokounmpo, another insane effort. He has been unbelievable. 28 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists. He's been incredible. He's been absolutely dominant. And if you watch the game, I think I flipped it back on with probably 5 minutes to go in the game. And they pan to Giannis sitting on the bench, just kind of staring out into nowhere. Because the realization is, look, it is what it is. Dame's out for likely a year because he suffered this Achilles injury in late April. Even if you go, the fastest kind of comeback we've seen from this is 9 months. That's the fastest we've seen.
Didn't Akers, correct me if I'm wrong, now it's apples to oranges, different sports. Cam Akers, I believe, did it in 4 or 5 months in
His
football.
was not a full tear, if I remember correctly.
It's a partial.
I believe his was a partial tear where you can do a surgical procedure that's not nearly as invasive. And now that we'll find out what's going to come out of the MRI, it is a tear, a torn, we saw the calf ripple. And that's the thing. I'm like, that's probably a rupture.
Mm-hmm.
But again, the safe timeline here is 9 months as far as the quickest you can go. And here's the thing. It's not the recovery process as far as just being able to do stuff. It's trust and then being able to build it back up, which everybody I've ever talked to in the NBA who has had a Achilles injury has said the same thing. And that is it takes about 18 months to fully come back from. Year and a half.
Which is going to put him at 37, 38.
36, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
36 and a half years old.
And I think it's fair. You've always heard rumors about Giannis. And, the whole reason that they made the trade for Dame was because Giannis said,
title window.
I need someone better than what we have right now to be my 2. Didn't that 1,000-yard stare he had there kind of look like,
oh, it's done.
I'm moving.
That's what it was.
He will be.
That was I hate saying this in the moment, but 2 things in that game, guys had realizations.
He gone.
When Dame hit the floor, did you see the look on his face?
I didn't see that one. I saw the aftermath.
He just bites his lip. Not pain, he knew. He knew immediately what it was. Because this is the guy who saw it happen in his career with Wes Matthews and again with Rodney Hood.
Right. Well, yeah, and they he wasn't there for KD, but it happened very quickly.
Yeah, but he knew what it was immediately. The realization hit him of oh bleep, that just happened. You can see the look on his face of are you kidding me? And I think that same thing happened to Giannis because here's the timeline of events that is going around the NBA right now. Okay. The Bucks just re-signed their general manager, John Horst. He was on an expiring deal. You know why you re-sign him? Because you want the guy in that chair to have the power and the protection to make a deal or to convince Giannis to stay. Because he's not a short timer and he has to have that backing behind him. And everybody that I talked to when that deal came out was like, yep, here we go. Because if you're going to sit there, here's what's probably going to happen. Giannis looks at this and goes, before Dame goes down, maybe I can get talked back into it. Maybe. But it's going to have to, something magical would have to happen.
Right.
Somebody be like, I have to go play there for whatever reason, right?
Or they were going to have to go on an improbable run.
And even then, the second Dame goes down, Giannis, I said it, I want to say last week, that it was probably 50-50. It's probably 80-20 now.
Yeah.
It's probably 80-20 now. I'd be, honestly, I think at this point, I'd be shocked if he stayed.
Well, and the interesting thing about Giannis, he will be the first international player to really demand out. This hasn't happened before. Yeah. I wonder, because of the victories and the title, will he be met with as much backlash as some
Yes.
of these other players.
Dame had as much capital as anyone with a fan base and a franchise, and there were still detractors here. That's the thing. It's like if you're talking about those guys, Dame, Giannis, hell, you could maybe even put Luka in that. And he didn't demand one.
I was going to say, Luka's, I think, is completely different because it blindsided everyone.
Yeah.
Even in the best case scenario where he might have known like a week or two in advance, he still got blindsided.
Yes. And the fan base, I think, in general, will thank him for his time, for everything they did for them, for getting them a title, for bringing them back to relevancy, all those things. Because he was an unknown, small market guy. The early, immigrant rags to riches.
He used to walk to the games.
Yeah. I mean, guy picked him up literally as he was walking to the arena in the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mentioned this last week. He's not that guy anymore.
Nope.
He's an international superstar. Mm-hmm. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's probably a top 20 player in the history of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that I've heard on the intel side is that he wants to go to a big market and get the superstar treatment that doesn't come with being in a small market.
Is Houston big enough for him? Because
yes,
not to do this, it seems like that's the only spot he can go. That's going to give up enough capital to make it worth it for the Bucks.
That's where you hit the nail on the head. That's why you re-sign your general manager, and that's why you re-sign your general manager who has a history with your franchise of making big moves, whether it's for Drew or for Dame.
Right.
You want somebody who's navigated this before. Now, this is going to be entirely different. This is going to be the biggest transaction of John Horst's career, much like trading Damian Lillard will very likely be the biggest transaction that Joe Cronin ever makes. And I'm not saying that as a negative.
Mm-hmm.
You're trading a franchise icon.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen. Most guys don't ever do that.
Probably the most important player in your franchise history?
Second.
You go Oscar?
No.
You're going Kareem?
Yes.
Okay. That's fair. I think that's fair. But yeah, one of the two.
And from what I've been told, Giannis wants to stay in the East and go to one of the New York teams. And Brooklyn has been the team. I don't think they have the capital to get it done. The Knicks are another team that I've heard. I don't think the Bucks are looking at Karl Anthony Towns and either Mikal Bridges or OG Anunoby as enough of a package. But here's where the problem lies if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. The New Orleans Pelicans and the Portland Trailblazers control your future.
Yep, which is why you need people that can win right now for you.
Or you structure a deal, whether it's Houston, that sends assets to either Portland or New Orleans to get your picks back.
Yeah.
This is why when Joe Cronin makes that deal and you bet on time running out in Milwaukee, why it was a pretty damn good bet.
Yep. It looks like one of the smarter trades from the team losing the superstar ever, right? In the return that you're going to get. The other thing too with it is I think you can make the argument that it was essentially a 3-team trade, right? Because Portland trades Dame to Milwaukee, you get Drew Holiday back, you trade Drew Holiday to Boston. The irony is this might be the first time maybe not the first time, but one of the few times the team that got the superstar that had demanded out or asked to be out lost while the other two teams won because Drew Holiday
was the final piece to a title team.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
If you go through the history of these transactions, the team trading for the superstar almost always wins. Almost always wins. Just run through the list of them.
Right.
That's just the way that it goes, unfortunately, But for the Bucks now, it's scary hours because again, Houston to me is the team. Because if I'm Milwaukee, I don't want to trade Giannis in conference.
Nope.
It's the last thing that I want. I don't want to see him 3 or 4 times a year. Right. Hell no. No.
Right.
If I'm Giannis, you know where I don't want to go? The West.
You got to deal with the gauntlet that is because, like, you even look right now, 2 of those teams within 4 years are going to be out of it. Well, maybe not even 2 because of what Luka can do for LA. Like, Golden State won't be Golden State, but guess what? OKC's only going to get better, and Houston's only going to get better.
And that's if
and Minnesota.
Well, we'll see what happens there. Just Minnesota's history I'm a little leery of.
Fair.
But with Houston to me is the one team that has the assets, the money, and a winning situation where they want him. Like you've heard like Kevin Durant to Houston. I don't buy Durant to Houston one bit. It's Booker or Giannis.
Right. Well, because it fits on the timeline, but more importantly, if you've watched any of the series, if Houston had anyone that could score,
yes,
anyone at all,
yes,
they'd be up 2-1 right now. They had no one that could score.
And basically,
in that
what do they get to keep if they trade for Giannis? Like, what do you prioritize? Like, you try to keep Amen and Şengün, or Amen and Jabari, like, because there's so many different ways that could go. I mean, if you're the Bucks, do you demand that Amen Thompson is in a deal? You know, it's a non-starter without him. Like that. Those are the kind of things that kind of come out of this. And it's, a bunch of people have asked us on the fan text line, you know, whether or not Dame is going to come back to Portland. I don't think he's going to come back on this contract. I think when his contract runs out, then you would see Dame come back for a year and kind of have his victory lap tour.
It's $107 million for the next 2 years.
I think 113 in total. But
113 for the next 2 years.
Look, I mean, I've said it, and I'm pretty certain it's been reported. Dame has flat out told me that he wants to come back when it's all said and done. Now, how does that change after this injury and kind of what comes out of it? I don't know. It's kind of a weird place to be in, but it sucks that we're going to do this with another team.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh boy,